Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We have another Monday meeting for you. And today we have our presenter, Grace Haw from Roger CPA, and she's going to be talking about how and why you should get your CPA license. So just really quick, we want to give you a few reminders of upcoming events. Isaac is just going to start us off with the first two.
All right. So on Wednesday from 12 to 1 p.m. on Zoom, we're going to have a presentation by Becker about CPA session. And they'll include a review session of CPA as well as some tips and tricks. Then on Friday from 7 to 9, we'll have an exclusive AA movie night. And it's just a 2-hour movie of just to chill with AA fans. And the genre for the movie is horror. So yeah, keep a lookout for that.
Also, we just want to remind everyone about this upcoming event called the Nazarian College Fair. It's happening on October 14th at 9 a.m. And it's just an event where students can meet with academic departments, co-curricular programs, clubs, and organizations. And you can just get involved and meet some new people. And so I think that's it for the reminders. I'm going to pass it off to Grace, and we're going to get started with the presentation.
Thank you so much, Chad. Sorry, my dogs are like play fighting in the background. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for having me today. My name is Grace Haw. I'm the Business Development Representative for UWorld Roger CPA Review. And like Chad said, I am going to talk about the CPA exam, how you can get your CPA license, etc. But just before we do get started, I would love to get a feel of the room. So how many sophomores do we have today? Okay, who else? Unmute your mics and feel free to just shout it out. Any juniors?
You guys also feel welcome to use the reactions and raise your hand.
Yeah, please.
She's asking.
Okay.
Also, if you guys, it would be awesome to turn on your cameras for our professionals to see your faces if you can, if you're willing.
Okay, and then the rest of you guys are seniors, I'm gonna assume. Okay, I see some thumbs up. Awesome, awesome. Okay, well, next question. How many of you guys plan on getting your CPA license or are interested in it? A lot of you. Okay, so for the most part, okay, almost all of you. Wonderful. Well, I'm glad I'm here today. That's exactly what I wanted to talk to you guys about. So, just a little bit of background. We are UWorld Roger CPA Review. If you guys have never heard of us before, we've been around for about 20 years now and have been able to help over 200,000 candidates pass their CPA exams and get their license. We also have a 91% pass rate, which is the highest in the market. So if your question is, what makes Roger different from Becker or Wiley? That would be our pass rate as well as Roger Phillips. We also recently joined forces with UWorld. Not too much to touch on that about, but by doing so, we've been able to triple the amount of money we're able to invest into our content and questions that we create for you guys. So I am sharing a link right now. So I'm running a scholarship drive where I am raffling off one full review course at the end of the month. I'm actually raffling off like 5 for October. So go ahead and get that filled out. And I did want to let you know I am here to be a resource for you guys. So if you guys have any questions regarding the CPA exam, the application process, I am your resource. Reach out to me. So now getting into the presentation, why even get your CPA license? A lot of you are able to find jobs even before you graduate without a CPA license, right? You guys go to meet the firms, you meet with recruiters, you can secure a job even without your CPA license. But just some of the great reasons to get your CPA license is one, it will give you a lot of long-term job security. And with things like coronavirus on, we want security, right? And if you get your CPA license, you are more likely to keep your job than someone who does not have their license. Another thing, you are seen as a trusted advisor and business consultant from day one. So any given day of the week, if you think about it, a client is probably going to want to work with a licensed CPA over someone with no credentials, right? Same thing for recruiters. If there's 10 applicants who all have the same things on their resume, but one of them has a CPA license, they are 10 out of 10 times going to hire that candidate. Next, it also makes you competitive. So the CPA license is recognized in all US jurisdictions. What does that even mean? That means if you get your license in California, you ever have to move to another state, that license is still going to hold value there. Once you take all 4 parts of the exam, you're never going to have to retake them again. Also, if you plan on working in public accounting, it is mandatory that you get your CPA license. So without your license, you're not going to be able to get promoted past senior. So you won't be able to become a manager or a partner. You're not going to be able to climb up that ladder. But most importantly, money. So how many of you guys do not like money? I'm going to assume we all like money, right? Yeah. If you don't like money, I'll send you my Venmo. Please send me all your money. But I just bring this up because there was a study done and it showed that licensed CPAs make on average $1 million more during their career than non-licensed CPAs. So I want you all to imagine a huge pile of cash in the middle of the room. All you have to do to get that is pass 4 tests. So that's a pretty good trade-off for $1 million, right? But before you can get there, these are going to be the 4 very real challenges that you will have to overcome. So time after time, when we ask candidates what the hardest thing about the CPA license process was, always these 4 things. So difficulty, time, procrastination, and expense. And I'm going to cover all of them at the end of the presentation. But the one I do want to touch on is procrastination. So how many of you guys have procrastinated before? I know all of us have. I know we all procrastinate on doing our homework assignments or, washing the dishes or doing the laundry, especially with the CP exam. This is something that a lot of people procrastinate on. But with this, you do not want to procrastinate on it because data shows that the age group after the bachelor's, which is age 24 to 27, has a 13% lower chance of passing the exam than someone right out of college. As a recent graduate, you know how to sit down, you know how to watch a lecture, you know how to take notes and prepare for an exam. Versus, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna grab my earphones really quickly. Okay, sorry. Yeah. But as versus someone who's been 2-3 years out of college, like me, for example, if someone told me to sit down after working a 9-hour day, I still have to eat dinner, I still have to lay down on my phone, go on Instagram for a little bit, and then I have to study for 3-4 hours, that's probably not something you want to do every day, right? So with the exam, you want to get started as soon as you graduate college. Those 2-3 months you have after graduation are the perfect time to get 1 or 2 parts of the exam passed. But moving on, these are the 4 E's you will need in order to obtain your license, and that is education, exam, ethics, and experience. So right now, you guys are all fulfilling your educational requirements. In the state of California, in order to sit for the exam, you are going to need 3 things. So 1, you are going to need a bachelor's degree. Doesn't have to be in accounting, it can be in any subject. You're also going to need 24 semester units in business and 24 semester units in accounting. So those are going to be the 3 things that you need to sit for the exam. When you're trying to become licensure eligible, that's when you need 20 extra units in accounting and 10 units in ethics. So this is an example of how you can break up the 20 additional accounting units. It's mandatory that you take 6 units in accounting. The other 14 units you can take in business courses, or you can even take 9 units in courses related to accounting or business. So that could be an English class, a foreign language class, a real estate class. And then for ethics, it's mandatory that you take an ethics accounting class. The other 7 units you can take in courses related to ethics, or you can even take 1 course in philosophy, religion, or theology. Next, you will apply and sit for the exam. So you are ready to apply after you have gotten your bachelor's degree, your transcripts are out, you have 24 units in accounting, 24 units in business. When it is your first time, it's going to take anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks for them to approve of you. So you want to get started on that as soon as possible. Once the board approves of your transcripts, you are going to receive something called an ATT, or an authorization to test. I would remember ATT if I were you, because that'll be on the Kahoot game later. But yeah, once you get your ATT, you have 90 days to choose whatever sections of the exam you want to sit for and pay for them. Once you pay for those sections, you receive something called an NTS, or a notice to schedule. This notice to schedule is only good for 9 months, and that's something you want to keep in mind because fees are forfeited if exams are not taken. So that means you have a 9-month window to sit for whatever sections you have paid for. If you paid for all 4 parts, to sit within the 9 months, which is a totally doable goal. But you know, work got in the way, life got in the way, something personal got in the way, and you are only able to sit for 3 out of the 4 sections, you will forfeit your $210 to the board. So we do not recommend that you pay for all 4 exams at one time. Instead, maybe pay for 2, pay the reapplication fee of $50, and then pay for 2 more. On exam day, you will be taking your exams at Prometric Center. If you are curious what the exam center looks like, you can go on their website and take a 3D virtual tour. Before, they used to do in-person tours, but it's COVID, they got rid of that. Testing has been implemented and is now in place. They have implemented social distancing. They keep the rooms at 40% capacity. But on exam day, you are going to have to bring a notice to schedule, and you need a physical copy of this. So I would recommend you print out an extra copy, leave it in your glove compartment. You're also going to have to bring 2 forms of government issued IDs. So that could be a driver's license, a passport, but it must be issued by the government, and it has to have some sort of photo identification. Also, if any of you guys plan on getting married, changing your last name, make sure you update that on all 3 things, because if there's even 1 letter initial that's off on your notice to schedule, ID, passport, they will be very strict about letting you in. So make sure all 3 names do match. In terms of testing availability, you have 18 months to complete all 4 exams. This is what the testing windows used to look like, and this was a horrible system that they had. So if I sat for FAR on January 1st and I failed it, I would have had to wait 3 months. Is that 3 months? 3 months, and waited till April 1st to retake FAR. Now they've gotten rid of that completely. If I fail FAR, I can reschedule to take it in the next couple of days. But I would like to know if you guys fully understand how the 18-month countdown works. So I'm going to ask you a question. If I sit for FAR on January 1st and I receive my scores that I have passed on January 14th, does my 18-month window begin on the 1st or the 14th? So does it begin on the day that I sat and took the exam, or does the 18 months begin the day that I received my scores? There's no wrong answer. There is a wrong answer, but don't be shy. July 5th. So the 18 months will begin the day that I sat and took the exam. So it would be July 1st. So to give you guys a big picture, let's sort of use this as our example. So let's say I took FAR on the 1st month, I passed it. I took regulation the 5th month, I passed it. I took audit the 10th month, I passed it. I took BEC my 18th month, but I failed it. But I retook BEC on the 19th month and I passed it. I now have to retake FAR because the 18 months have run out for FAR. So I get to keep regulation, audit, and BEC, but because the 18 months has run out for FAR, that'll be the only section that I have to retake. So when it comes to the 18-month window, you never want to set a goal for 18 months. You usually want to set a goal for 9 to 10 months to pass all 4 parts so that you are within the 18-month window. Moving on. So what to expect on the CPA exam? What are some horror stories that you guys have heard about the CPA exam? I'm curious. Any crazy stories you guys have heard or anything that has sort of intimidated you guys about it?
Amount of time per question intimidates me for sure.
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
The amount of time you have per question is pretty crazy sometimes.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. We'll cover that. Thank you for sharing, Chad. So one thing I do want to say about the CPA exam, yes, it is a difficult exam, but the CPA exam is not an IQ test. It is one of diligence. So if you are putting in the hours and actually studying, not being distracted off your phone, you are going to pass. But what is a CPA exam? It is a 4-part exam. These are some of the courses that you will take throughout your undergrad that correlate to the exam. So in terms of audit, it is a full cycle of an audit or a senior level audit class. FAR is intermediate 1, 2, government not-for-profit, BEC is cost managerial, financial management, IT, and regulation is tax, ethics, and law. And as you can see, it is 4 hours for each exam. Luckily, you do not have to study for all 4 parts at one time. You're going to study for a part, take a part, study for a part, take a part. And question I get really often is, what order should I take the exams in? And there is no set order, but this is the order that we recommend. So the AICPA recommends about a total of 400 hours of studying in total to be successful. In terms of FAR, they recommend about 130 hours of studying. For audit and regulation, they recommend about 100 hours of studying. And for BEC, they recommend about 70 hours of studying. FAR is often known as the monster, covers the most amount of information. My FAR textbook is double the width of my BEC textbook. So you want to get that bad boy out of the way first. Once you get FAR under your belt, you want to sit for whatever you are more comfortable with. If you think you're better at audit, I would take audit second. If you think you're stronger in tax, I would take regulation second. BEC, you want to save for last, not because it's the easiest, but because it requires the least number of study hours. And this is what you can expect the structure to look like. So you're always going to start off with multiple choice and with task-based simulations. And there are going to be 5 testlets. So while you are within one testlet, you can jump around the questions as much as you need to. If you come across a question you don't know how to answer, especially multiple choice, I recommend that you flag it, move on, get back to it later. You don't want to waste any time on exam day. The moment I move on from testlet 1 to testlet 2, I'm never able to go back to testlet 1. So before moving on from any one section, you want to make sure that you have completed all of the questions, as well as giving yourself a little bit of time to review, because there are instances where someone will get to the end of testlet 5, they'll still have like an hour left on their time clock. That means that was a whole hour they could have spent reviewing their answers in testlet 1, 2, 3, and 4. But because they moved on, they're not able to go back. At the end of each testlet, they will ask you if you want to take a break. You want to say no until you get to the end of testlet 3, where you get a free 15-minute break. This is a long 4-hour test, so I highly recommend you give yourself a little bit of a break, whether you go to the bathroom or go to stretch or even go cry in the bathroom. Take advantage of these short minutes that you have. Also, you want to come back to your seat a little bit earlier because you do have to get fingerprinted back in. So maybe come back at like the 10-minute mark, get fingerprinted in, sit down at your seat, get back into test mode. These are the different types of questions you will see on the exam. There's multiple choice, task-based simulation, and written communication. So task-based simulations are something that you are not going to practice throughout your undergrad or even in a master's program. So that's where a CPA review course will come in and help you prepare for the task-based simulations, because task-based simulations make up 50% of your score for all 4 of the exams. As I said, task-based simulations are not something that you practice, so you will need to get some practice with the review course. But these are how the scores are weighted. 50% to multiple choice, 50% to task-based simulation. For BEC, 35% of your score to task-based simulations and 15% to your short essay questions. And I'm actually going to go into the course and show you what these different types of questions look like so you can get a feel of them. But in terms of why the CPA exam is so difficult, it's because they give the exam in order to test the skills that first and second year new hires need to be successful in their role. And so the exam is going to test you on a variety of skill levels. Your multiple choice questions will test you on the skill levels of remembering and understanding, while your task-based simulations will test you on the skill levels of application, analysis, and evaluation. This is all from Bloom's taxonomy, if any of you were dying to know. But once again, you're going to see the CPA exam skill levels on the CPA exam blueprints. What the heck are the CPA exam blueprints? This is an extensive 100-page document that maps out what is going to be on the CPA exam. So if at night you guys are having trouble sleeping, I highly recommend you open this up. I'm sure it'll put you right to sleep. But just so that you guys never have to worry about, stressing out about this crazy document, we've taken on that role for you. So twice a year, we meet, Roger CPA Review meets with the AI CPA. We get these blueprints from them, and that's exactly how we map out our course and our questions. But yes, the CPA exam blueprints are the skeleton of the exam. This is where you can see to go all of the different types of topics and skill levels that are going to be tested. Okay, moving on to time strategies. So when we asked CPA exam candidates what the hardest thing about the exam was, oftentimes more than the content, they will say it's time. Whether it's that they didn't have enough time to complete all of the questions, or that they finished the exam too quickly and couldn't go back to answer their questions. They will always say time is a very tricky thing. And in real life, we are used to time moving forward, but on exam day, it's going to be the opposite. So it's going to be a countdown clock, and it's going to go from 4 hours, 3:59, 3:58, 3:57. And if this is something that you're not used to or something that you have practice for, it can definitely take a big toll on your score. So when you are preparing for the exam, using some time strategy is going to be essential for your success. So we've gone ahead and created a little bit of basic time strategy. So let's use FAR as our example. For testlet 1, I have 33 multiple choice questions. I want to aim to get done in around 45 minutes. So that means on exam day, if I've completed all 33 questions, but I'm only at the 30-minute mark, I probably want to spend 10 to 15 more minutes to review my answers, right? Vice versa, if I'm have completed all 33 questions, but I'm at the 1 hour mark, I have to pick up my pace in testlet 2 so I have enough time to get to my task-based simulations. Because remember, task-based simulations make up 50% of my score. And if we're using FAR, you have 66 multiple choice questions that make up 50% of your score, while you only have 8 task-based simulations that make up half of your score. That means each task-based simulation makes up a huge chunk of your grade, so you have to have enough time to get to them. But breaking it down a little bit further, on exam day, you will receive a whiteboard and a marker. As soon as you sit down, I will write down the timestamps you should be done with each testlet by. So I would probably write something like T1, 3:15, T2, 2:30, T3, 2 hours, so on. Breaking it down by question. For each multiple choice question, you have anywhere from 1 minute to 1 minute and 24 seconds. That goes by pretty quickly. Not during class time, but on exam day, 1 minute is gonna go by really quickly. That's why earlier I said, if there's a multiple choice question you don't know how to answer, don't waste your time on it, flag it, move on, just get back to it later. For your task-based simulations, you have anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes for the general ones, 20 to 25 for the complex ones. For your research questions, you have about 10 minutes each, and for written communication, you have about 15 minutes each. Next, you are going to need ethics. So you are going to have to take an ethics exam. This is a take-home open book exam. So why it's called the ethics exam, we don't know, because everybody is cheating on this thing. But It's actually rumored to be a little bit difficult, so don't take it too lightly. You will have to get a 90% to pass out of the 50 multiple choice questions. So you're also going to have to get work experience. In the state of California, you are going to need 1 year or 2,000 hours of work experience under a licensed CPA. If you have ever done any sort of accounting internships, those hours will count. So do as many internships as you can. If you plan on going into audit or ever opening up your own accounting firm, it is mandatory that 500 out of the 2,000 hours are signing off audits. And these hours are something that you can fulfill before, during, or after you take your exams. Again, do as many accounting internships as you can. It'll help you hit your goal of 2,000 a lot quicker. But those are the things that you need for your license. So you're going to have to pass all 4 parts of the exam, get 20 extra units in accounting, 10 units in ethics, pass your ethics exam, as well as get work experience. So now that we've covered the 4 E's that you need to get your license, which were education, exam, ethics, and experience, I do again want to bring up what the 4 challenges are to passing the exam. Again, they are difficulty, time, procrastination, and expense. And as we all know, the CPA exam is very well known to be a difficult one. The national average is a 48.5%, which is really low. That means out of every 10 students going in to sit for the exam, sorry, that's my dog squeaking in the back there. Out of every 10 students going in to sit for the exam, only 4 or 5 of them are coming out with passing scores. With UWorld Roger CPA review, we're able to bring our users to a 91% pass rate. That means out of every 10 of our users going in to sit for the exam, 9 or 10 of them are coming out with passing scores on their first try. And with the CPA exam, passing on the first try is definitely something that you want to aim for, because every single time you fail a part, you're going to have to pay $260. So that's going to be $210 in exam fees and then $50 in the reapplication fee, not to mention the hours that you have to spend preparing for the exam, as well as the 4 hours on exam day. How stressful does that sound? How expensive does that sound? You want to aim to get all 4 parts done on the first try. And I think this testimonial is great. I was able to pass all 4 parts on the first try. I have credited this fully to this program, and especially Roger. His method of teaching is fantastic. Which brings me to Roger. So again, when people ask, what differentiates Roger from Becker or the other providers, really it is Roger's great instructions as well as our 91% pass rate. And I feel not all of you have seen or heard Roger speak before, so I'm just going to go ahead and play a short clip of him.
All right, now let's continue on and let's talk about something else with individual taxation called deductions. Now, we can do either what we call a standard deduction, and that's where the government says, hey, you're alive, you get $12,000 automatically, or married filing joint, $24,000, so it might be a good reason to finally get married. Or you can itemize, and itemizing is called a Schedule A. So what we're going to do is on our Schedule A, we will itemize these items, and as long as they're more than $12,000, it's probably worth it in order to itemize your deductions. The first one is called charity. And again, this is going to be a mnemonic that I suggest you commit to memory. What does it stand for? Charity, other miscellaneous, medical, interest, taxes, theft, and casualty loss. The first one is called charitable contributions. Now, when I'm walking down the street, I see someone and say, hey, here's a free donut. Is that tax deductible? No, they are not what we call a qualified charitable organization. Therefore, it's not deductible. So you've got to be giving it to a charitable organization, but we can be giving things like property. We could be giving things like cash. You could be giving things like appreciated stock. Doesn't mean something you appreciate, but it's gone up in value. Now, the limitation is about 50% of AGI, which stands for adjusted gross income. That means that we're going to take on the face of the front of your 1040 and basically say, how much is adjusted gross income? Let's say it's 100 grand. The most you can deduct is 50% of that. The rest you're going to carry forward. Now, when we talk about giving, I've got these cute nephews. I go, hey, give me 5, high 5, low 5, give me 5. You carry the rest forward for 5 years. Get it? That's cute. Now, the other thing that's changed for 2018, 19 through 2025 is you can deduct 60% for cash contributions. Used to be 50, went up to 60. I also mentioned just now about appreciated stock, up to 30% of your AGI, adjusted gross income. The other one is miscellaneous, other miscellaneous. COM is other miscellaneous. That would be, for example, like gambling. So I love going to Vegas. Come on, lucky 7. Ugh, I always lose, but I look around and it's so beautiful. Why are these casinos so beautiful? Because I'm a loser. I lost a lot of money, loser, 3D loser. Any way you look at it, you're still a loser. So that would be other miscellaneous.
Yeah, but that was Roger Phillips. So he teaches all 4 of our sections. With a lot of the other providers, you're going to see anywhere from like 20 to 30 different professors or accountants or CPAs that will teach you on the 4 different parts of the exam. But with UWorld Roger CPA Review, it is Roger teaching all of our material. And let me tell you, CPA exam material is not fun or engaging or entertaining in any way. You're going to be spending about, I think, 120 hours watching lecture videos. Hopefully it is with someone that can keep you awake and engaged. And I know if it's Roger, he will be able to do that for you. But with time, how are we going to help you maximize your study time? A lot of you guys are probably going to be studying and preparing for the exam when you are working full time. That means you still have to work that full 9-hour day. You still have to do your daily activities. You still need to talk to your friends. And you do have to spend a good amount of time preparing for the exam. So what are we going to do to maximize that time? That's going to be with our fully featured mobile app, as well as our Smartpak predictive technology. So Smartpak, I'm going to show you once we go on to the course. But in terms of the mobile app, this is something that you can download on your iPhone, your iPad. If you are an Android user, I don't know why, but you can download it on your Android as well, or whatever sort of tablet. You can download lecture videos and watch them without any Wi-Fi or data. So this is very useful because once we start driving to work, going into an office, you can just download a lecture video ahead of time, listen to Roger lecture you as you're driving to work and back. You can also answer questions on the app. So, you know, before you go to sleep, instead of scrolling Instagram, you can pop open the app, get some questions done, get some flashcards done, or even read the textbook. So the mobile app is great. You can study anywhere. With procrastination, this is something that I touch on multiple times because everybody seems to procrastinate on the CPA exam, and that's not something that you want to do. And I work with a lot of recruiters in my role, and they cannot stress enough how few of their applicants have something about the CPA exam on their resume. If you think about it, a lot of you guys are probably going to be applying for a lot of similar positions, right? At the same firms, you're probably going to have a lot of the same things on your resume. Most of you are CSUN graduates, probably an accounting major, probably were part of some accounting organization, maybe even a board member, probably have done an accounting internship. So what can you put on your resume to differentiate yourself from the other 20, 30 applicants? You can write something like, as soon as I graduate, I plan to get 1 or 2 parts of the exam passed. And by writing something like that on your resume, it shows recruiters that you are not only invested in yourself, but into the firm and your future growth as well. So shows that you're really proactive, shows that you care. But again, don't procrastinate, get started as soon as possible. But to help you guys out, you know, with the expense aspect of the CPA exam, we are offering our Elite Unlimited course right now for the price of $13.99. That's $1,600 off of the original price. And This is not something that you're going to be able to find on our website or any sort of site. You only get access to this because you are here with me today. But with the Elite Unlimited course, this is our fully robust package. Unlimited means there is no expiration date. So if it takes you 5 years, 10 years, 15 years to pass the exam, you are still going to have access. But let me go ahead and show you what the course looks like, as well as the different types of task-based simulations. Okay, so this is what the course would look like once you log in. Let's go into FAR. Oh, just okay, so let's go into FAR. Okay, so our course has essentially been pretty much updated for 2020 and the 2021 exam changes. But first, I want to talk about Smartpak. So Smartpak is how we bring our users to a 91% pass rate. Again, that means 9 out of 10 of our students are passing on their first tries. What we did with Smartpak was we essentially took the data from all of our old users who scored really well on their exams, and we saw what they were doing to score so well. We noticed that our users who were passing were hitting a target number of questions and a target score per chapter. And we have put these targets onto our course, but Smartpak is going to be a learning experience that is personalized to you. So as you go into the course, you're answering questions, your targets are going to change according to how you do. But how does Smartpak maximize your study time? Basically, a lot of people think that in order to pass the exam, they have to answer all 6,000 questions in the course. But by doing so, you run the risk of overstudying and confusing yourself on exam day. With Smartpak, it makes sure that you only answer the questions that you have to, so you don't have to waste your time. Once you hit all of your targets in Smartpak, you go and take the exam and you failed, we will give you your money back. We have a money back guarantee system. But how do you study? So first, you want to set yourself up with a study plan actually. So on our course, you can choose between 3, 6, 9, and 12 months. I usually like to recommend the 6-month study plan. So that's the one I will show you today. It's just an Excel file. It'll tell you what to do, instructions. The course includes approximately 125 hours of lecture. Expect to set aside approximately 3 to 4 hours of time for each study session. This is what it is going to look like. As you go along, you will just check it off. If you fall off track, just pick up where you left off. But this is what you can expect it to look like. So that is FAR. They give you some days off. This is for regulation, audit, and BAC. So after you've chosen a study plan, you can go ahead and watch the lecture videos. And online now, so you can make Roger bigger if you want to. If he's talking too fast, you can turn captions on or even slow him down. And then you have the e-textbook on your right. With the Elite course, you do get the 4 physical textbooks. So after you watch the lecture videos, you want to go ahead and quiz yourself on questions. So first, there are multiple choice questions. You can test yourself on task-based simulations, however you want to do it. I watched the video on basic concepts and financial statements, so that's where I'm going to test myself. Let's do about 4 questions. So while you are within the course, you're going to notice 2 things. Whether you get a question correct or incorrect, we are going to give you an answer explanation as to why. We do this because we know that there are a lot of educated guessers out there who just move on, but we want to make sure that our users are fully grasping concepts before moving on from anything. The next thing you're going to notice is that we have a lot of visual explanations like this. And in the past year, we have been trying to go in and include as many visuals as we can. If there is a visual that you really like, you can actually click on it and add it to a flashcard. But I mean, multiple choice is pretty straightforward. But I got none of these right, so I'm not gonna submit this. Next, there are task-based simulations. So like I said, task-based simulations are not something that you're practicing in undergrad, so you wanna get as much practice with task-based simulations as you can. Okay, so this is an example of a research task-based simulation. So for questions like this, you are going to click authoritative literature. You're going to use these, and that will help you answer your question. What does it look like when it is answered? That is your answer. This is another research task-based simulation. Another research task-based simulation. Okay, this is a regular task-based simulation. So this one just looks like a complicated word problem, right? And you have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So for a question like this, you have about 16 minutes to answer. If you remember, you have anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes to answer questions like this. Okay, and then lastly, this is an example of a document review simulation. So here you are tested as a real life accountant would be. You're going to be given phone transcripts, legal documents, balance sheets, emails, notes that you will utilize in order to help answer these questions. And this is what it'll look like. And although they do give me 4 exhibits here, some of the times, not all 4 of the exhibits are going to help me answer the question. So you are going to have to use a little bit of critical thinking here. I also want to show you what written communication looks like. So written communication is only in your BEC section. These questions are short essay questions, and I do want to give you guys a bit of a tip here. So there's 1, 3. Okay, so this is what a written communication question will look like. So it is a short essay question, and one tip I want to give you guys here is as this written communication section is also graded by a computer, that computer is coded to look out for certain things. It's going to be looking out for keywords, correct grammar, and punctuation. So on exam day, if you are having a bit of a brain fart or you're on test of 5 and you're exhausted, make sure that you are repeating keywords and you have correct grammar, punctuation, sentence, and paragraph format, because even if your answer is wrong, there is a chance that you can get some partial credit. And the only time your written communication will be graded by a human is if you have a borderline score of 74, 75, or 76. If you have any 3 of those scores, someone is going to sit down, read through all 3 of your essays, see if they can bump you up, or they might even bump you down. But once you have hit all your Smartpak targets, you are pretty much ready to take a simulated exam. So this is something that mimics the AICP exam almost identically. You're gonna have the same 5 testlets. You're gonna have that 4-hour time limit. When you are taking this, you wanna act as if you are at Prometric Center. Remove any distractions, put your phone on silent, and go to a quiet place, hone in on your time strategies and all of the things that you've learned. But this is what you can expect the exam to look like. So your first 2 testlets are going to be multiple choice. Remember earlier I said, if I don't know how to answer this multiple choice question, I'm deciding between B and C. I'm not even going to waste my time, just going to flag it, go to it later. And once you do submit a testlet, it will tell you which questions you have not yet answered. On exam day, make sure you are completing everything, also giving yourself a little bit of time to review. Testlet 2 is multiple choice. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so this is what you can expect the task-based simulation testlets to look like. So this is testlet 3. We have 2 task-based simulations. Something that I like to do is before spending all my time on one question, I like to filter through and see what sort of questions I have, because one might be a little bit more time consuming than the other, because this one looks pretty time consuming, right? But again, this is a document review simulation. I'm going to use this exhibit and help answer these ones. This again is a research task-based simulation. I'm going to use my authoritative literature to answer that. As I mentioned, after testlet 3, they will give you a 15-minute break. On exam day, make sure you are taking that break, drinking that water, maybe even crying in the bathroom. Testlet 4, another research task-based simulation, a document review simulation where I have 8 exhibits now, and just a regular task-based simulation. This is a regular task-based simulation, another document review simulation, and a research task-based simulation. On the course, you also have flashcards. So there are preloaded decks from every chapter, again, which you can access from your mobile app, but also the customized ones that you have created. So this was the flashcard I created earlier. But that pretty much sums up my demonstration of the course and the different types of questions. Do you guys have any questions for me? No questions.
Is there any questions, guys? This is a really good resource to learn about anything regarding the CPA exam or anything regarding Roger CPA. So now's the opportunity.
I have a quick question. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Mariana.
Thank you. I have a question. So what is the average rate for the time of passing the exam? Is it usually 3 months, 6 months, or something?
Yeah, so you asked what the average rate of time to pass the exam was. You know, I think there's not really like an average, so it's really dependent on your time and your schedule. It can take anywhere from like 2 to 3 years. The quickest I've seen is 3 months, but the study plan that I recommend you guys to choose is either the 6-month plan or the 9-month plan. And a lot of people tend to choose the 1-year plan, but I do not recommend that, just in the case that there are any hiccups and exams that you have to retake. But I would say 9 months is a really good medium. So I would highly recommend you guys use the 9-month plan. But to sort of give you guys a real life example, I have a friend who works at EY. You know, Big Four, they make you work really hard, a lot of hours. So it took him 2 years to pass all 4 parts of his exam. Once he passed all 4 parts, he updated his resume, posted it onto LinkedIn, set the status that he is sort of looking for a job. And the next morning when he woke up, there were 18 messages in his inbox. So that's what the CPA exam can do for you. It not only gives you leverage when you are applying for positions, you can also ask for a higher salary. Not to mention, a lot of accounting firms do give you a bonus. So with a firm like BPM, if you pass all 4 parts of the exam upon 1 year of entering the firm, you get a $5,000 bonus. So that's a great incentive for you. Not to mention the extra $1 million you'll have in your bank account at the end of your career.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. Did you have a question, Gohar?
Yes, I did. So you talked about how you would really recommend to take it as soon as possible right after graduation, but would you recommend in a way, or would you say that having a little bit work experience will be helpful since you'll kind of learning? I mean, you already have learned all of these in your classes, but you kind of are applying what you're reviewing. So it kind of helps when it comes to when you're applying it in the test. Will that be helpful? Yeah,
that's a great question. So as I mentioned earlier, a all of the things that you learn throughout your undergrad, they're going to be the basis and the foundation for all of the things that you know about the CPA exam. But the CPA exam is going to test you on higher level things that you don't cover in your undergrad or even in the workforce. So that's where a review course will really come in and make sure you are a strong candidate for the exam. So I would, again, start studying as soon as I graduate because, you know, again, you're in that study mode, you're still in student mode. And the reason I recommend you get started on the process as soon as you graduate is because once you start working, you are going to have no time. And the longer you're at the firm, you're only going to get more and more workload. That's the reason why there's so many second and third and fourth years at accounting firms who have not yet gotten their license because they have no time. They don't want to go home and study after work. And so by getting 2 parts of the exam passed even before starting work is only going to make your life so much easier.
I have a question. So about the promotion code that you give us earlier, do you have an expiration?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you have an expiration on the promotion code that you give?
Yeah. So the code is set to expire next Friday. And then the code is Future CPA. So if you guys are interested in it, please let Chad and Go Hard know and give them your email so that I can email you guys about the discount code. Yeah, but with the code, so the price is $13.99. I know that's still a lot of money, so we do have payment plans available through a firm, so you can do financing options with no interest rate at all. Okay, well, if there are no more questions, let me go.
I have one more question.
Yeah, sure.
How much would you recommend to study average a day? Let's say if we are graduated already, but we are not working yet, how much would be the best time not to overstudy, but at the same time take advantage of the time?
Yeah. So if you are not working, you've graduated, you have all the time, I would recommend you study anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a day. So a lot of times when people are working full time, they'll usually study anywhere from 2 to 3 hours during the work weeks and study anywhere from 4 to 8 hours on the weekends. But if you have graduated, you're not working yet, I would recommend you study like 5 hours a day because you have all the time in the world.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And once you guys do begin studying, one tip I do want to give you is to try to start studying at the same time every day. By doing that, you know, you sort of make it into a habit and you are able to get into the study mode more that way. So if you're a night person, I would recommend you start studying after you've done all your daily activities. If you're a morning person, maybe try waking up an hour earlier, going into the office, getting some studying done there. If you don't use all full 1 hour of your lunchtime, maybe even study 30 minutes during your lunch breaks. Any other questions? Okay, well then I'm gonna go ahead and share my Kahoot game really quickly. So to play Kahoot, you just go to kahoot.it, then type in the pin 5832525. We'll give it like one more minute. For the winner, I will send you a $10 Amazon gift card. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. All right, where is Roger CPA review? And then for Kahoot, the sooner you answer, the more points I can get. The quicker you answer, the more points you can get. Yes, so Roger CPA Review was founded and headquartered in San Francisco. If you ever want to go see Roger, he is in San Francisco, so hit him up. All right, Chad is in the lead. Okay, which of the following majors will qualify you to sit for the exam? All of the above. So in the state of California, you do not need a bachelor's degree in accounting specifically. You can have any degree as long as you have 24 semester units in accounting and 24 semester units in business. All right, Chad is still in the lead. Where can I go to see an overview of the topics? Remember, this is my boring 100-page document that I would open up if I need to go to sleep. Yes, so the CPA Exam Blueprints are where I can go to see all of the topics covered on the CPA exam. All right, Chad is still in the lead. Sherry is catching up. How many days is my AT, my authorization to test? How many days do I have to choose whatever sections I want to sit for? Yes, my ATT is valid for 90 days. Great job, guys. Right. How many months is my notice for? My notice to schedule is valid for 9 months. So I have 9 months to sit for whatever sections I have already paid for. Alrighty. How many hours of work experience do you need? So in the state of California, you are going to need 1 year or 2,000 hours of work experience under a licensed CPA. Again, if you plan on going into audit or opening up your own accounting firm, you need 500 hours signing off audits. All right. Oh, the places have changed. So Sherry is in the lead, Jennifer second, and Chad third. How many forms of government issued IDs must be? Yes, so 2 very popular ones are driver's license and passports. Righty. What percentage pass rate does Smartpak bring for Roger CPA review? It's 91. So we are able to bring our users to a 91% pass rate only if you are using Smartpak correctly and hitting all of your targets. Alrighty, it's a close call. Okay, true or false? The 18-month cycle, I received my so the 18-month cycle, that was false because the 18-month cycle begins the day that I sat and took my exam, not the day that I got my score. Alrighty, wow, Chad caught up. Alrighty, last two questions. It is not take the bar section first. It is not mandatory to take the bar section first. Yes, this is true. You can sit for the exams in whatever order you want to. If you want to start off with BEC or you want to start off with audit, you can you like. Alrighty, last question, guys. How long does the Roger CPA Review Elite Unlimited? Yeah, so some people think that you have course access till you pass your exams, but with our Elite Unlimited course, there is no expiration date. That means even after you pass the exam, you still have access to it. And every year the AICP makes updates to the exam. We update everything in our course as well. Drum roll, everybody. All right, Mariana in third. Chad in second. All right, thank you guys so much for playing my Kahoot game with me. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I did.
I'm glad.
It was really fun and informative.
That was close. You were close, Chad. Very close.
Right there. Yes. I think if we don't have any more questions, I think we're just going to wrap it up right here.
Sounds good.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Grace, for coming out and speaking to everyone. That was a lot of fantastic information. I know I learned something, and I hope everyone else did as well.